don't think he cuts his head right there because...
Yeah, I mean, he's holding on by a thread.
Nope, that did not work. It does. That's all right. Somebody commented on underneath our videos, it's like 2023 is not the year of synchronized claps, is it? And I'm like, let's start. Yeah. The first time reacting together.
She's just chilling.
How is this fight?
I mean, it's just so nice, the animation and so...
Concentrate! Control your breathing.
It's where the stick animation happens.
I do not remember most of it, to be honest. I saw it like last year. That's very nice.
I just remember the internet going fucking crazy.
I know.
Also, there's like this...
Effect.
Yeah, that's why we're watching it, because of the effects.
Yes, honestly, just
True.
It's so cool.
I just remember the whole arc was very interesting.
Also, he's just so pretty. Like, his design. The eyes, like, they're so angular.
I really like the character designs from like all Demon Slayer characters.
I know the effects animation in the sequence is just going crazy.
I think I especially like Tanjiro. He's just...
It's really, really nice.
And a lot of nicely integrated 3D.
For the most part, they use it for like faraway shots when the character's just walking across the screen, and then you're like, oh, look at that little 3D guy.
You know, I'm not at even 10% of my power. Oh no, baby, no, you got this. Come on.
But I like generally how edgy the style is as well.
I like the thick lines.
Yeah,
it's
right?
Really pretty.
It's really, really nice. The hair tends to be very angular. Like also this is not a perfect circle.
Yeah.
It's super, super nice.
But look at the eyes.
I think that's also why it was very interesting at first, because of its style being very different.
Yeah.
No. Curse anime for always making me like go, oh, you got this.
End of the fight. Cool, that was a great reaction. Thank you very much.
Oh, the typical white background, therefore it is a memory. Very effective though.
Yes.
He's baby, okay?
Oh, it's his dad. He's like Zuko, but not really.
Not really.
What was the technique called that his father uses? Hinokami something. Yeah.
That's a really cool piece of fashion, though.
Demon Slayers, I'm so sorry for all the animators who had to animate square after square after square.
Yeah.
But it is really pretty.
That is very nice.
That is really nice.
Do you think this is
That's
3D
3D.
or rotoscoped? Both?
It kind of
Probably.
looks like it's 3D with a bunch of motion blur to be like, look, it's not 3D, really.
What was it inspired by? Because like that is so nice.
Yeah.
The poses are so strong.
Like, that's not,
No,
obviously.
that's 2D. I don't know why anime just knows how to make moms so lovable and
I think I've read something that it's inspired by like traditional dances.
Would
I
make
don't know
sense.
what exactly.
Or maybe it's just like heavily referenced.
maybe it's traced 3D.
Yeah, something like that.
Exposition in the middle of the fight.
No, because he's like, he thinks he's dying and this whole
It's
thing flashes.
storytelling.
Yeah. That's what he needs to survive.
He remembers in this
Yeah.
crucial moment
Yeah.
the one technique that's gonna save him.
Yeah, I mean, exactly.
Cool earrings.
The only critique I have is that the main evil guy is Michael Jackson.
Go, 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 go.
There you go, this is what I'm talking about.
so
It's
pretty.
so cool.
And it's also so consistent, like in it, not only in how it moves, but in its volume.
Yeah, yeah.
So I really wonder how they did it.
They really know how to do effects, man.
You think, oh, that's 2D, but it's still very, like, look at that.
I mean, I think this is in between with keyframes because
Yeah, it's very smooth.
we can point it out later, but it's so smooth.
Also, I'm just gonna say that the really dark black shadows,
It's really nice.
it's like Hades.
Yes.
Yes.
It's very, very nice.
The music is also, I think that's a great choice of song for the fight. Super hopeful.
Yeah, the music really carries.
It's the theme of like the family stuff they always have, right?
This is incredible. It's so much motion, so much camera going on.
But it also works really nicely because, you know, the fire is red and the rest is really, really dark.
Dark,
so you
so,
can really
yeah.
frame everything. So there's a lot of contrast going on. It's super, super nice.
And it really leads. Yeah, I cut out the flashback.
Anime just gets me so emotional. Oh, true. I forgot about that. She helps him.
Nezuko, whenever Nezuko just goes apeshit, I love that.
Hell yeah.
Good for her, you know?
Siblings.
Yeah.
That's really nice.
Oh, nice.
Off with the head.
Really effective way of repeating action to slam home that, yes, he got hit really, really badly.
Kudos for like sibling relationship, you know.
The impact frames.
nice.
Oh, beautiful.
Can't believe like the severing of a head is really beautiful, you know.
Yeah.
That was really nice.
This is a fine scene from Demon Slayer, the series based on the manga by Yoharu Gotoge. It shows Tanjiro fighting against Rui. The studio behind Demon Slayer is Ufotable, who is also known for their integration of 3D and 2D. Episode 19, where most of this fight takes place, was directed and key animated by Toshiyuki Shirai. The effects animator on this episode was Nozomu Abe.
Also, they did have an effects animator.
Yes. He also worked on Fate, or some of the Fate saga, which is also very much carried from all the cool effects.
The style in of itself, as we said, is already graphical. Even in the clothes, you can see how it makes it feel way more organic. I feel like in the close-ups especially, you can really tell because the line thickness is way thicker, and that's where you can really see how they modify the line.
I love his jacket and eyes.
His pupils or irises go wider the moment he realizes he needs to fight.
They're just really nice. Somebody had to tell the cleanup artists that they shouldn't make it a circle. And that's really nice as like a stylistic choice.
But here is a perfect example of the line jankiness. Usually anime eyes tend to be very rounded, where Demon Slayer works really
Exactly,
nicely.
yes.
Off he goes, and you have these very nice lines. It looks like it's like a CG thing almost, and they just have a toon shader on top.
I almost thought that maybe some of the effects have been 3D layouted at least.
Yeah.
Because the splashes are very 3D looking, so maybe they had some 3D involvement in it, which would help the animator. But in the end, I do think that this is not just simply a toon shader. I do think this is drawn over and composited, which like props to the compositing people, because like there's a gradient in everything. There's like multiple colors going on. There's a glow in everything. Yeah. Really good job.
I've listened to a lot of animation podcasts, and some of them mentioned the scenes in Demon Slayer. And there's also like this scene where his sister gets cut, and there's like some loops and stuff that kind of tell that it's 3D.
One thing that makes it look 3D is also the shading on the little particles, because you can see a little bit of gray here, and it looks as if it was
maybe 3D,
a 3D type shading.
The tiny specks, that's so many of them. It would be really hard to draw this and then still being sane afterwards.
Well, it is the anime industry we're talking about.
True. The consistency is also what's throwing me off. Is like there's a splash here, and that splash continues to this. And obviously, FX animators are trained to keep stuff like that in mind and have the physics in your head. But it's like so consistent that I feel like that could have been a simulation.
Good staging also, like, because in the manga, I mean, you have the panels, right? Sometimes you have like an over the page thing, but you still need to adapt that to this format. And I think they did a really good job at like really using the water to like guide the eye.
Also, it's pretty hard to make action scenes and make them clear.
The background is fully 3D. This really helps with layouting. The way he just slightly rotates in this direction. If you look at his back, I think that must have been a 3D model that they used at least as layer beneath, just to know how it moves in 3D space, I feel like. Which is honestly, that's so smart. The anime industry is moving more into having 3D layouts and drawing on top of it. It really keeps the charm of 2D animation while using the effectiveness and the dynamicness of 3D animation. And I think it's like the best of both worlds.
I was wondering as you were talking about 3D layouts, like if you look at his hand, it is
Super
hella consistent.
Yeah. The hand slips a little bit. Like it covers more of the metals and they're closer together even though the perspective doesn't change that much. So I feel like they did go like post-to-post key animation, but had the 3D layout to reference.
Also, kudos for slow-mo animation. It's really solid.
This really feels like some 3D liquid simulation. Yeah, definitely. Well made, really well made.
Yeah. if you decide that you want to have the eye look like this, you have to keep this line consistent going in.
Especially because you can't just draw the line and then you color it.
Yeah.
You have to draw a line that's like this, and then in the coloring phase, they will fill it out with black.
Going through a character's eyes tells
To
us
see
that
what's
you're
in his
going in his
mind.
head.
Yeah.
So it gives us the impression that yes, he is like remembering because we are in his head seeing the flashbacks. If you just cut to them, not the same thing. So they're adorable. But also, notice how much rounder everything is, right? Because they're babies and
Yeah.
they're soft.
That's such a lovely composition because she's cut off. It's not about her, but it's about how close she is. So it's on 2s.
It's very interesting because when you look at it, it almost looks as if it's on 1s because of how smooth it
Yeah.
is.
Is it 3D though? Oh, is it rotoscoped?
Oh, maybe it is.
Because it feels very solid.
I do think that's rotoscope.
I think so too, because if you look at those ones,
Yeah.
they're not exactly the same.
Rotoscoping basically is when you draw over footage that you filmed, which has its own kind of niche in animation.
Yeah.
No matter how they did it, it loses a little bit of the charm of 2D hand animation, but therefore it looks realistic and the weight is correct, and you think like, wow, this really exists, which I think is a good choice for the scene.
Even if it has been heavily referenced and rotoscoped, they still use smear frames.
To imitate motion blur.
Yeah.
I love it when they do that, where it's like fast and then immediately like the movement stops.
Yeah.
The hand is smeared and then it stops and the hand doesn't move anymore because it just shows how precise his movement is. It's so
Again,
nice.
the irises just go beep boop.
Like smaller. And then they get wide again.
Here's something that happens when you animate in 2D and you have a keyframe animator that maybe has a frame only every 4 or 8 frames, and you give it to an in-betweener. If you look at it in motion, you can see how this here was a keyframe and everything up to that keyframe was perfectly smooth, and then they reach the keyframe and now they need to in between the next position, and so it completely changes direction.
That's such a cool shot. It's like turns around himself and he always like stays in the center, right? And he gets framed by the fire, just like if this was the frame and he was here, the fire doesn't do this. The fire like goes around and out of frame and back into frame, and that makes it very dynamic.
The amount of work that went into the shot, because everything is animated very, very subtly, so it's like the slow-mo effect. For instance, the foot, you could just keep it static because it's not moving, but he still has momentum pushing him forward, so it does still lift ever so slightly.
Again, I keep going on about the framing, but they really know how to use that. And it's also really nice how this is like white, and so it really glows in comparison to the darkness. And it really feels magical and powerful.
That's really nice.
I love that they did
it's
that.
Like
That's so cool.
sees it.
I love that their irises are white too. It's really pretty.
Shout out to my movie.
Yeah.
We focus a lot on Tanjiro's face, and when he comes closer to the camera, the anticipation like his arm is coming and then he's putting through the screen, you have nothing on the side of the screen, and then one to see like the incoming blade a little bit, and then bam.
You can
Skull
see
is
how he
smashed.
goes from here to here,
Yeah.
like this, and it has so much impact.
That's so pretty.
That's very anime.
Yes. And it's just the line of the cut. It's
Yeah.
perfectly straight.
Don't think he cuts his head right there because
Yeah, I mean he's holding on by
yeah.
a thread.
Ooh, that's a nice
Lovely.
one.
That's so pretty. Because it's such a heavy impact, I think it really works to have it twice.
And then we see it again,
Again,
like
black.
sword here, and then again black, and then impact. So they do the same thing twice to show just how like abrupt and fast it is. POV, you're cutting somebody's head. You're decapitating somebody.
I love the
So
Dutch
nice.
angle here. Usually you say Dutch angles are, oh, if something feels a bit off, but you can also add it for dynamicism, and it works so well.
I really love.
Oh.
Look at that. This.
It's so nice. It's like
it feels a bit like they're coming back to the dance of the father with this shot.
And then this is just a really nice frame. Like, it's a super nice close-up, and nothing really moves except for his hair and whatever. But these sparks make it so
Alive.
3D, graspable, so hot. You really feel what's happening.
he's so pretty. Look at him. I don't know. I'm not a compositing like genius, but that looks like there's a lot of comp in this. That makes it look really good.
Very lovely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for acting.